And how did you make a change with your mindset in order to be an example to the people that you serve, Andrea?
So for me, it's a lot of meditating, um, working on my mindset as it relates to affirmations, reprogramming my mind, as well as my spirituality and my connection with God, and of having a prayer life, and learning to understand my true identity of who I am. Number one, as an individual. Number two, as a woman, and as it relates to being a child of God. And so that has really helped me. And then just working with people over the years, kind of helping them to get back to that place too of understanding that they have to be connected to the source, of all things it plays a major factor in not only my own personal success, but also the success of my clients as well.
And Omni, how do you feel that you had to change your mindset in order to be an example for your client?
So my thing is like for many years I didn't think of myself as a person. I was just like trying to help everyone and to be an example for my brother and sister, an example for my community, working hard and etc. But once you sit down and I started the whole self-discovery through one of my coaches, I started to meditate and really sit in silence and think through and not being overwhelmed by all the other stuff that we just keep doing it every day without realizing that we just keep repeating the same thing. We all woke up in the morning and we go to work and then we come back and pick up the kids and then we do the whatever we had to do, we sleep and we come back and we do again and again. And like Andrea was saying, we're not here like to just keep doing that. We have a purpose, we have a mission, but the only way to arrive at this to know what is our mission is to just like try to reconnect with ourselves, and meditating helped a lot for me. Sitting in meditation, going through a coaches, because even me as a coach, I am still going. I have my own coach that is keeping me on point in my life and making sure that I keep moving forward, because I don't want those limiting beliefs to stop me from achieving all the things that I want to achieve. And the affirmation works also the same, the prayers, and constantly wanting to improve and work on your personal development is the key. The same way we working full days in a corporate job or in our business, we need time to keep growing as a person, as a human being. And that's the shift that happened to me, is like when I started working on myself, on my mind, not physically, not like it's just my mind. I fooled it, my mind. Like I'm not even watching TV anymore. I'm just like reading a lot of personal development, and there's so much mentor that are out there for free. You just like need to get a book, read about it for free. Like you can even on YouTube, you have like free content. You have so many things that you have at your reach, and you just have to start doing it. And yeah, that's how I do it.
Okay. And Chantel, how did you change your mindset to be an example for your client?
Um, for me, I would say, so it had been something that I for a while now I knew I had that vision of what I, I was called to do.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I wanted to do, and I could see myself doing those things, but I just couldn't. I just couldn't do those things. Um, you know, just because of those self-limiting beliefs. And I'm just one of those people who I don't usually talk, like express myself that much. And so people hardly knew about it. Um, people just know that, I'm a very shy person, which I am, and quiet, which I am. But I got to that place where I thought maybe that was just me. But in reality, that wasn't really me. That was just, the beliefs that I had. And so I also prayed. I always prayed. And I think it has to do also with my spirituality, which is, I always ask God to lead me. I always ask him to speak through me, because I know if he speaks through me, there's no holding back. And that's something that I did that every single day. And I still do it up to today when I'm feeling kind of like low. It's just a song that I always listen to, and that brings me back to where I'm supposed to be. So I think it's more, it's that, and then it's also some meditation, but I would say the most part of it was just like asking God to do it for me. And the first thing that I did, it was a big challenge that I just took, which I did, something that I had been wanting to do. It was a Facebook Live, which it was unbelievable. Like someone like me, I just decided, I just went live, and I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing this, and that's how it all started. And I was like, oh, after the live, I was like, oh, I mean, I did it. It doesn't matter how, but I did it. And so it's been just that. And I still have, my go-to things and people that brings me back to where I'm supposed to be. Just more of my, spiritual life.
Okay. And Andrea, how do you balance your career, family life, and you time?
I would say I have to demand it as far as me time. And what I mean by that is making myself a priority. I have no problem with telling my sons, like, hey, mommy needs some time, okay? And they get it, because I've established that boundary.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that there are times when I'm not so great at managing at times. I mean, sometimes that's an area that I struggle in, to be honest, but oftentimes I've come to learn that it's okay for me to ask for help, because I've always been one. I'm out of my siblings, I'm the oldest, and so I've been used to carrying the weight of, having to be the first one, to be the example, or to, be strong for everybody. And I'm really grateful of the fact that I have friends that God has blessed me with, especially for this stage in my life right now. Um, and just having people that I can call on to help, that are so in my corner, and that are like, you know what, Andrea, if you need me, you call me, and so that has really been a saving grace, to know that I have a support system to help me, because I've learned that doing it alone is not easy.
Right.
And so even though sometimes when you want your support to come from one area, sometimes it comes a totally different way. But even in that, you have to realize it's your support, even though it may not be what you wanted support to look like. And so I have had to learn how to establish a network of people, and be okay with building a relationship and a connection, to be able to lean on others in times of need and help, as it relates to managing different areas and parts of my life.
And I think that's a challenge for most women, is asking for help, because we're so used to doing it all, putting that stress on our own backs, and we don't want to ask for help because it's like, nope, they're not going to do it right. But how do we know if they're going to do it right if we don't ask?
Exactly.
So I think so that's a challenge. Omni, how do you balance family and career and you time?
I would like say like it's a like ongoing process. Like there's times I succeed and times where it's like get harder. But I think now I work towards being aware when I'm seeing myself being starting stressing out or overwhelmed. I know my self-care plan is I need to take a break. I need to do my breathing exercise and then I can calm down. And like Andrea was saying, is like the support. I'm lucky because my husband, especially during this quarantine COVID-19, from the beginning we knew we had to handle our both job. He has a second job. I had my business, and the kids were at home and the homework. It was like it was going to be like a crazy moment, but we talked through it, and we just decided like we have to help each other. And like because it's not just the cooking, and it's not just like the doing, is the thinking of that is also a burden for women, for because we have to always plan. So tonight the food is going to be, so I have to do the grocery for this, and then the cleaning, and then there's so many things that we have to handle. So that is that part of the burden that I gave to my husband. And so funny, so many times he was just like, one time I just come up to the kitchen. He was in charge of that day of the cooking, and then he's like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna eat?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." Like, and I have a meeting, I have to go. And he just, the planning the food is the worst than the cooking. And I was just like burst laughing because that is so true. It's just like it is the worst thing. The cooking is easy. So that is my partner in my balance is my husband, my number one. And my kids, like same thing as Andrea saying, is like telling my kids, being able to tell my kids, okay, the same way you guys enjoy having your time to do XYZ, mommy has her own time. I'm saying to them, this is my time. And then they understand it because I've been like repeating and explaining them with their own example. And the third thing is like the self-care plan. The self-care plan, always. And so many times I caught myself because I'm a strong woman, and I feel like I can handle a lot of stress, and I'm just letting myself go and more. And the last time I did is like I spent 5 days without taking care of myself every day, my self-care plan. And then I realized I was like, how come I'm so stressed? How come I'm tired? How come I don't have any energy? And then my coach told me, did you do a self-care plan? And I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm saying to my client, I have the self-care plan to do, they have to do it, and I didn't follow. So it is funny how we can say to do, but sometimes on our own life we tend to forget. So now I have like posted all over my office and saying, this is the time to take a break. That's my way of remembering it.
And Chantel, how do you balance family, career, and you time?
It's crazy. That's all I can say. Sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's not. I personally have learned to listen to my body because, like, we all agree, we all want to do and do and do and do, and just, not asking for help. And so working alone is like mentally, it's draining. Mentally is draining, physically is draining, like, all 9 yards. And so what I do is I would work, like I would schedule my own shifts, so that way I would have time, to do other things. But what I noticed was the other things that I always talked about never had me, like, like my personal time, never had it. And so I would realize, even though I wasn't working like that much, I was still like constantly like tired and exhausted because I was doing every other thing. I have a 3-year-old, and it's like 100% like full-time job as well. So I started listening to my body, and I can tell when my body's giving up, and I would stop, and I will, whatever it is, I will tell my husband, this is what is going on. I need to rest. If there's no food in the house, we're going to have to figure out something because I cook. I don't really, order out. For the kids, it's easy because you can just order pizza and, but then he came to understand, he came to that point where, if I say, this is how I feel and I just want to do this, he's okay with it. But the biggest challenge that I have, even when I'm resting, even when I'm having that me time, the biggest challenge is how do I put it? It's my brain. Like my brain just keeps, like it doesn't rest. I don't know how to rest it because there's so much thing I'm doing in my head, even unconsciously. There's so much thing, like I just want to be writing even when I want to rest. So that's something that has been like, like a challenge, even when I'm resting. But other than that, it's just something that I understand I have to ask for help. I have to talk it out. I don't have to put on attitude when I'm tired and I'm not saying anything while I'm tired. So the communication has been, something that's what, like to speak up when I can't do it. Yeah.
And Andrea, how do you stay positive and encouraged, especially during this time of pandemic, to offer that to your family, to yourself, and to the people that you provide services to?
I know for me personally, I'm usually an upbeat type of person. But there are those days that, you wake up and it's challenging. But I do it from a place of gratitude, just being thankful and grateful for just even being alive. I mean, there's just so much going on today. And so what I personally do is just try to find ways, and I do a lot of meditating and reflecting because I've had a lot of deaths in my family, one, and then number two, there's deaths going on all around us. There's sickness, there's disease, there's just all these things. They've always been going on, but it's like really magnified like right now. And so it's in those moments where there's just times I have to steal away to replug and recharge, to make sure that my emotions are balanced. But then there are also those moments where it's like I have those moments where I cry, so I have in my moments of stealing away something, I have to release because I understand myself. I understand that I'm also an empath. And so I pick up on, different people's feelings and emotions and things like that. And there's just times where I just have to like cry it out, release it, to be restored and refilled. And a lot of times it comes through my worship and through my relationship with my creator. And so that helps to recharge me and give me the motivation and the drive to be that light for others. And so that's truly my sense of how I maintain my sense of motivation.
And do you feel that after crying, you feel cleansed and refreshed?
Absolutely. Like my spirit just feels charged. Like I feel like, and when you're running a marathon, which I've never run before, but I've ran before, right? Either on a treadmill or, and so there are those moments where you just feel like, oh my God, I can't go no more, But when you have that extra drink of water, or, you wipe the sweat off your brow, while you're in the moment, and you feel that cool breeze that, comes across your face, it's like, okay, now I have that extra little push to keep on going. And so that's really what it is for me.
And Omni, how do you stay positive, encouraged during this time for yourself, for your family, and the clients that you serve?
So my number one thing I think is like being surrounding myself with the positive people. And I remember like one of my clients, he was like we were in session, he was like, I'm so stressed out, like the world is like like so bad, and there's so many deaths, and I'm asking him, how often do you watch the news? And it was like he had always the news in the background. And I'm like, okay, you have to stop that. That's because me, what I did is like I was only watching the news once a week, and that's it. And I was like telling myself I'll only watch from this time to this time, and that's it, which allow me to not be surrounded all the time with negativity, because let's face the reality, the news is always negative. So I avoided that part, and that's what I was advising my client to. And the other thing is like the gratitude. Same thing is like focusing my life and my day on what's working instead of what's not working. Because the other thing is, when another woman client was telling me, I can't wait to be back to normal. But in the same time, I got her as a client before COVID-19. She was like, she didn't like her life the way it was. So I just giving her a perspective. I was like, oh, remember, like, yes, you're stuck. It's a new normal, but the normal that you're seeking, that you want to go back, is not something that you liked it. Now, maybe let's use this time to think, what is the normal life that you would like to have? What is a normal day that you would like to have? Not something that used to be, and not obviously being quarantined all the time. And it gave her hope, because she realized she was in charge and she could decide what is her dream day could be. So that's also like changing the perspective, the way you're seeing it, and focusing on the good things that you have. And it is true, the simple fact that we are healthy during this midst of COVID-19 is like a blessing. So remembering it's not because you have it that it's just like not thanking the universe for that. It's a blessing to be still here. So that's, and like all the affirmation, the whole tools to keep your well-being on top. And yeah, I think it's already good.
And Chantel, how do you stay positive and encourage for yourself, for your family, and for your clients?
For me, I have always said that everything happens for a reason. No matter how difficult, no matter how devastating it is, I've always had that belief that everything happens for a reason, and that's helped me a lot. Because sometimes when I try to think hard, I remind myself that I don't really have certain answers to certain things, and I would never do. And because I believe that if it happened because God let it happen, and because He knows why it happened, I've just left it at that. And so, like, it doesn't really matter what happens or what's happening. I stay positive because I know it's happening for a reason. Even when I have deaths in my family, it hurts. But then when I stand by that faith that God let it happen for a reason, that helps me. It helps me a lot, so that way I can also help, other family members, other friends, other, loved ones, and help them to see the other side of it, of what they are going through. If you are sick, or if you, God forbid, you had an accident, and you dwell on it, but then look at the other way around. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. We could have been, talking about something whole different now. So there's always, for me, there's always a reason, and we should always be thankful. And I'm also blessed because, the support system, I have a very small knit, like a close knit. My kids' babysitter, my husband, my friend, and the husband with the kids. I talk to other people, but these people are the ones that, I could have my kids in their homes, and I could travel for a month and not worry about, what's happening, or if my kids is okay. And that alone helps. because when you surround yourself with those kind of people, there's no such thing like, negativity or, bad talk or small talks like that. And so as far as my clients, as far as they're concerned, I've always been that person who will always stand by the positive side of it. Doesn't matter how bad of what you tell me, I'm always looking at the positive side, because there is a positive side. There's no way, there's always two sides of anything. So I always try to, make them to understand that you can't just focus on the bad side, but how about the good side? No one is perfect. No one can ever be 100% bad or 100% good. If you continue to focus on the bad side, how about the good side? How about you lean on the good side and learn something? Maybe you learn something from that bad side and lean towards the good side. And so that's what I say to my clients and even the people that I talk to on a daily basis. And that kind of help, to help switch that mindset a little bit, that, oh yeah, this, I could see this is a good thing I could lean on, versus just, complaining about the things that you cannot fix.
And Andrea, what advice would you give women who are interested in receiving coaching or becoming a coach?
I would say know that you are enough. If you are considering becoming a coach, you are enough. I know there's a lot of coaches out there that may have a certification or may not have certification, but from what I've learned, different coaches, especially business coaches, to a degree, it matters, but it doesn't matter. If you have confidence, you believe in yourself, and you put expert in industry, because one thing that no one can take away from you is your experiences and your level of understanding and knowledge that you have gained throughout life. And if you happen to go out there and get certified in your area to perfect your craft, there's nothing wrong with that. But just know that you are more than enough, and you have what you need to take the next step to really indulge and embody the coach that you're called to be, especially if that is your purpose. And for those who are considering,
Omni, what advice would you give women who want to become a coach or looking for coaching services?
I really encourage advice.
In a particular.
Oh shit, Andrea is back.
Go ahead, Omni.
Was I going in and out again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Andrea.
Okay. I was saying, as it relates to getting coaching, it's helpful to have someone who's 20 steps ahead of you, who can provide that level of insight or possible blind sides that you may not even be aware of, or to help you shift your perspective and how you're looking at a situation. Because sometimes when you're in the midst of a situation, or you're in the midst of a life crisis, or whatever it is you might be going through, sometimes it's hard to see outside of the box of what it is that you're actually dealing with. But when you're dealing with a person who has a certain level of expertise and experience, it helps you to go through the trenches, so to speak, to get to the level or the place where it is that you want to be.
And Omni, what advice would you give women who are interested in becoming a coach or looking for a coach?
The advice I have is simple. If you are even a tiny mini 1%, you're questioning the fact that you want to get a coach or not, and you're wondering if it's worth it or not, just go to the discovery call. Just like they all provide a 30-minute call, to 1-hour call, free of charge, just to talk towards what's your goals, where you're at, and how they can bring you values. And it's really, really a process to better understand yourself. It's like understanding who you are and trying to become who you want to become. And it's just a partner. A life coach is a partner with you to work towards that. And now if you want to become a life coach, the same thing is like, don't overthink that. Like if it's something you've always liked, coaching people, you can be a coach. We all have our own story, our own life experience, and there's no one that you are unique. There's not a second person that is like you, that has lived the same thing as you. So you can bring value into this world, because even if you help one person that have dealt the same issue, challenge that you had, it's already a blessing. So be bold. You deserve to have it all. That's my slogan. So you can really have it all. Just keep growing, work on your personal development, books, read a lot of books, work with a coach if you want. And yeah, that's my advice.
Okay, like that. And Chantel, what is your advice for a woman who's looking for a coach or wants to become a coach?
For the women who are looking for a coach, I would say, first of all, understand why you need a coach, like to understand your whys first. Because there's a lot of coaches out there doing different things. And so you don't want to, spend your time and effort and money with the wrong coach. So really to understand what you want. And just like Ami said, that 30 minutes call will clarify if that's really what you want, or if that's the person that's going to help you. And I encourage every person to have a coach. We all need one. It's very necessary as long as you have the right coach. And for those who want to become a coach, that was the second part, right?
Yes.
So for those who want to become a coach, again, I would say know who you are. Know what your calling is, know what your purpose is. We all have that inner voice. We all have that inner voice that tells us, that tells you what you need. And a lot of times we just ignore those little instincts that we have, right? That we want to do other things that we are not called to. And then we end up, failing or giving up just because it wasn't coming from a place of authenticity. So I would say really know who you are, know if it aligns with your spirit, if it's coming from that place of, that place of love, that place of naturality. And then the mindset piece is the biggest. That mindset, you have to have the right mindset. If it means, hire a coach to help you through that. If it means reading books, watching videos, a lot of resources out there. Because with your mindset, you need your mindset at the right place. Doesn't matter if you want to be a business coach, a mindset coach, a health coach. That mindset is it's like a foundation. We all need to do whatever we want to do. So I would say start from that point. Whatever self-development that you need to do on your own to be able to become that person that you should be, to start doing those things that you were called to do as a coach. And that's all I really have to say.
Okay. And Andrea, how can someone contact you for services?
Can be reached at www.andreathevisionigniter.com or on social media on Instagram, and my handle is at Andrea the Vision Igniter. as well as on Facebook at Andrea, the Vision Igniter.
And Omni, how can you be contacted for services?
So you can contact me on my website, still on the process to redesigned, but it's almijohnny.com. And through social media and Instagram or Facebook, you have at almig.g.coaching, and on Facebook, almijohnny. And I'm also launching soon an 8 weeks program to help working moms overcome their stress and helping them balance their life between work and family, especially during this beginning of September, going back to school online or in person, we don't know. So that'll be something that I'll be updating into my website too, if you're interested.
And Chantel, how can someone contact you for services?
So you can contact me at my website is Chantal with an E, Shamgar.com. So Chantal, first and last name.com. On social media, on Facebook, you can contact me at Chantal Shamgar. It's a Path to Mindset. Instagram, Chantal_Shamgar. You will find me there. I'm also on YouTube. That's kind of like a laid back thing, but you will still find me there. Chantal Shamgar. Again, it's my name. Yeah.
Well, I thank you ladies for joining me, and it's, so amazing to hear women and see how much we have in common that we really don't realize when it comes to family, when it comes to work, when it comes to self-care, when it even comes, as we talked about earlier, asking for help, the challenges that we go through, but we still want to be that encouragement and support to other women. So I thank you guys for coming on, taking the time to share your stories, what you do as a coach, and give an example of, as a coach, you still have struggles of being a mom, being a wife, career, work, things like that. So I thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for the invite, Legend. That's awesome what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Legend.
All right,
keep the good work. Keep the good work.
Thank you. And we will do this again next time. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Good night, ladies.